Welcome to the Four Peaks Parents Podcast with Thomas Miller. Are you tired of your tween, teen, or young adults' dysfunctional behaviors holding you emotionally hostage, controlling your family, and ruling your life? Do you feel like you're riding an emotional roller coaster every time you walk into your house? If you answered yes, then you're in the right place. This podcast is a community for courageous parents just like you who come here to gain effective tools, skills, learn concrete action steps, and take power back so they can change their tween, teen, or young adult's life and change their family's future. All right, welcome. Today we're going to get into a great topic that is called, Are you a pot roast or fried chicken? What the hell am I talking about? So what I'm talking about is your parenting style. After I illuminate what this is, you're going to know for sure if you are in fact a pot roast or in fact fried chicken in terms of how you approach parenting or just challenging behaviors or just your kids in general. So I am for sure fried chicken. What that means is my process toward addressing stuff is fast. My wife for sure is a super, super slow pot roast. No hate there. Love me some pot roast. Love me some fried chicken. It's neither good nor bad. It's just important for you to know, right? Especially if you are co-parenting. It's a beautiful opportunity for you two to get split, which is actually next episode. We're going to dive into how to avoid getting split by your kids. But this is a good little precursor because if one of you is out in front or out ahead, right, and the other one's lagging behind, it's kind of like the Grand Canyon. I use that analogy all the time with the parents I coach. You know, that canyon was created literally by water just driving its way down the canyon and creating a wedge. And each side of that canyon got further and further apart from each other, right? They got polarized, those sides of that canyon. And the families that I coach often come to me with a ginormous canyon between them in terms of how they address things, in terms of their perspectives, in terms of just their worldviews, their paradigms, how they typify their child's wellness or sickness, their child's functionality or dysfunctionality, how good or bad or strengths or weaknesses or just how big of an issue things are, right? So it's super important that we take a look at today our approach. So one of the things to think about is if your kiddo presents an issue and you are like white on rice and all over that within a millisecond, you are probably fried chicken. And don't get me wrong, there are tons of issues and tons of reasons and tons of whys for being fried chicken. Some of the families I coach, unfortunately, take a very minimized, laissez-faire approach to parenting and allow things to bloom and allow things to metastasize. Trust me, it is a heck of a lot harder to try to take down a Goliath issue when Goliath is strong, well-fed, well-resourced, well-slept, etc., than when that issue is not as rooted in, let's say, your loved one's character structure or in their everyday, or it hasn't really been habituated out. So I got love for my fried chickens out there. It takes one to know one. I know where you're coming from. I know that you want to address these issues, and you certainly want to exhaust those patterns long before they really take hold, right? If you're a pot roast, there's a good chance something's happening with your child, right? That's actually manifesting in your family or in your home or maybe with them at school. And maybe you're taking a more under-reactive, let's say, approach. There's value and strengths there too. Trust me, especially if you have a fried chicken partner, you're probably going to feel unconsciously or consciously like you have to compensate for their fried chickenness, right? So this is the setup, and this is just really important for us to really spend time exploring this topic because, again, my goal for this whole podcast is whether you're a solo parent or a co-partner or co-parent, that you just have greater insights about who you are, where you are, what are your strengths, what are your weaknesses, what are the current opportunities for growth, as well as what are the threats that could kind of have a shunting effect on your global growth, right? It's all about going good to great here, people. So there's no judgment at all, whichever side you fall on. So one of the things that's super important if you are fried chicken, is to STFD, slow the beep down, right? Slow the fudge down. You could certainly throw an F-bomb in there if you want, right? So slow the fudge down. Not everything is a nail, right? If everything's a nail, then the only thing you have is a hammer. Trust me, I have a Thor freaking hammer that I drop down when I need to on my kids. And there's times I have reached for the Thor hammer when I could have reached for the regular hammer or maybe even the ball peen hammer, right? So what happens for a lot of us fried chickeners out there is we tend to be disproportionate in our, let's say, response or even reaction. And what we do sometimes is we leave our partner behind, right? My wife and I sort of joke that I'm halfway up Mount Everest, and being like, why the heck aren't you at least at base camp? And she didn't even know that I was going to climb Mount Everest, right? Let's say. So it's super important if you are fried chicken to slow the fudge down, right? That's just a really important thing to think about. If you are a pot roast, right? By proxy of your partner, let's say they actually are trying really freaking hard to put a pause between their previous, let's say, parental impulse. You need to step up. You need to step in. You need to get involved, right? Your partner who's a fried chicken person probably is telling themselves a story more often than not that they feel alienated, or they feel like they're on a parenting island, or they feel like they're left holding the bag. On some level, that's actually true. You as a pot roaster, as a slow to parent, slow to react person may have abdicated and given too much space to that fried chicken partner. And now they're feeling again all alone. On some level, though, they need to slow the fudge down. We've already talked about this, right? To create the opportunity for you, if you are in fact the pot roast parent, to get involved, to present a united front, to stand in tandem, or to go toward whatever issue together, right? So that they can actually accompany you. So you see how easy, right, this can become problematic. And if you have, which we're going to get into later on future episodes, if you have a child who I jokingly say has a PhD in button pushing, well, they're going to be brilliant at knowing exactly what buttons to push and to get both of you to devolve into a hot, chaotic mess where they get to exit stage left. So if you're already now heading into parenting, whether you're a new parent, you have a 2-year-old, whether you have a tween, a teen, a young adult, there are going to be issues that are going to crop up. And just when you think, oh my God, we got it all together, we are rock stars, we are kicking some booty here, we're like, oh my God, this amazing dynamic duo, some new thing is going to present itself and you're going to get split. And one of you is going to be out in front and one of you is going to be way behind. And so this is not only about, again, if you have a partner, being a better parent, this is ostensibly about having a better relationship and creating deeper intimacy and trust with your partner so that you can go to war, metaphorically, around certain issues. And trust me, if you don't think you're going to go to war around certain issues as a parent, you're a little naive, because tween and teenageville and young adultville can be very challenging. So this is really about getting the right timeline or timing for you as a parenting couple, you as a co-parent unit, so that the dynamic is not, again, setting itself up to have major issues where your child can stand in the base of the Grand Canyon and conduct all the norms of the household, okay? So another thing for a fried chicken person to think about is to take space. It's okay. I don't know how old y'all are listening to this, but I remember Jimmy Superfly Snookum. I think I have that right. Anyone could fact check me on that one. From the WWF, flying off the top ropes, right? And tagging his co-partner, who I do not remember who the heck that was, his co-wrestler. But that whole tag team concept is a really healthy thing. Now, I'm not saying take space and move to Arkansas. That's called abandonment or detachment. I'm just saying take some space. Create space for your partner who's that pot roast to colonize that space, to step in, to get their head out of the sand. Another way of saying pot roast parent is maybe ostrich parent, and for them to get involved. Okay, so that's super important. Avi, right? Pot roast parent, hello. When you are tapped by your co partner, your co-wrestler, when you're tapped in, you got to get in, right? You can't just kind of be sitting on the sidelines and not ostensibly doing a great job managing whatever that behavior or choice is. You have to, right, utilize kind of what I call the Goldilocks approach, right? There's the too soft, there's the too firm, and there's the just right, right? So for the pot roast parent, it's going to be super important that you don't immediately typify your partner, their response, as too firm or as aggressive. It could be, and certainly we can talk offline about, whether that is or isn't so. But your perspective often as a pot roast parent is that the other parent is often too firm or maybe too out in front. And again, that's probably true on some level. But then on the other side, the fried chicken parent is going to most likely typify and label you as too soft. So the two of you really have to staff up in advance of whatever issue. Make sure you have some time together to really get on the same page. What is important and urgent, right? What are the gunshot wounds, as I call it? I always say to the parents that I'm coaching, every day you're triaging. And clearly you have to know what the gunshot wound is, right? Or what is the sprained ankle behavior or choice or issue. And as you know, with tweens or teens, stuff changes in a second, right? What seems to be no biggie all of a sudden becomes a big issue, okay? So another thing for the fried chicken person to think about, as I already kind of intimated, is it a nail, right? Because if everything's a nail, then the only tool you have is a hammer. So it's super important, beyond just saying, is it a nail, to really actively listen, right? Try to understand, as much as your kid may be demonstrating a really annoying, manipulative pattern or behavior, it is a communication of a need. What's under this behavior? What are they driving at? Doesn't mean that you're going to agree or say yes or still not try to, redirect it. But it's important just to figure out what the heck it is. For a pot roast parent, it's really important to catch your partner being good. Catch your fried chicken person maybe not being fried chicken, but maybe being a roasted chicken, right? Maybe they slowed down a little bit. Maybe they took a different tact or tone. Maybe they did take space. And you could take space in a very effective manner where, again, it doesn't look like your child just won, so to speak, because they exhausted you and pushed on every button, and now you're deflated and you storm out of the house. Taking space could sound something like, hey, I realize I'm kind of like an engine in red, getting a little triggered. I'm probably not going to be super productive right now. As a result of me historically snapping and kind of wigging out right now, and you could even use the word fried chicken, being too fast, I'm going to go take some space. I'm going to take 5. I'll be back. And then you can give that little wink, wink to your pot roast parent, their cue, right, to tap in, to step in, and to address that. You also can talk offline, right, and create solidarity. And you also can have the pot roast parent be the first to talk, and you could be the last to talk. You could really sit back and will feel awkward and weird, and your kid will be freaked out, trust me, because your kids are so used to what is familiar. And the unfamiliar will be like anxiety-provoking at first, but also kind of cool, and they won't really know what's going on, and they're going to probably try to test it and get you to recapitulate. That means fall back into all the old dynamics, but it's still a really cool thing. Another thing for the fried chicken person is if you're in a car, which, trust me, I have been in many times and have been way too fast to dive into stuff because I'm a very proactive dad, always trying to excavate issues, but sometimes my timing sucks. Maybe I should have solicited more air cover from my wife, and I should have empowered her, right, so that we can again present a united front and really go at this choice behavior issue together, arm in arm, in a more united front. So seek support, seek air cover if you're the fried chicken person. Slow the fudge down. Also realize not everything is a nail and not everything has to be addressed. If you're the pot roast person, get involved, tap in, stay engaged, get involved. Also realize that, again, your partner may or may not be super aggressive. They actually might be just right, and you might be too soft. And when you begin to step in and have more assertiveness and agency, you're most likely going to deem yourself as being too aggressive. Realize that you're just leaping off of a platform that's probably on the softer side or the slower side than your partner's. I hope this was really helpful today. Trust me that if you can begin to first quickly assess whether you're fried chicken, pot roast, or somewhere in the middle, and your partner can do the same, now we're kind of working from the same framework or the same blueprint. As much as you can, take things offline and staff up in advance. It's also okay, not in a really negative way. We don't want to emasculinate our male partner or ostensibly disempower our partner. But it's okay to say, you know what? Why don't you hop off? I got this one. If you're the pot roast parent, it allows that fried chicken parent to take space, knowing that in fact, parenting is getting done, and it solidifies, right, and increases the intimacy and trust between you two. I hope this was helpful. Get out there. Make sure you're not falling into the extremes of a pot roast or fried chicken. You got this. Be well. Hey everyone, Thomas here. 2 quick things. First off, it means the world to me that you took the time to listen to my podcast. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. Number 2, while you were listening to this show, who was the one person that you thought could really benefit from this episode? And please share it with them. Also, if you haven't already, please sign up for my mailing list so you can get instant access to my free community. Here you will be able to connect with other parents in similar situations, as well as access my regular Q&A sessions where you can ask me anything and get headed in the right direction. The link is in the description.